I'm starting a new project today. I'm back working on our 2011 Town and Country minivan. I did some body work on this about 3 years ago, some rust repair, and we've been driving it ever since. And now, to our luck, we were sitting at a stoplight and somebody decided to rear end us, and that happens. And so here's the damage. Looks like they took the tailgate out, the bumper cover, the structural bumper, and the tail light. So quite a bit of damage. You can see the tail light's busted up and the tailgate's shot, and of course part of the bumper cover came off, and you can see we got damage to the bumper. So we took it to the body shop and said how much to put this back together, and our local shop's good guys, they do nice work, and their quote to me was $4,067, so right around $4,100. And I'm sorry, but I can't spend $4,100 on this van. Everything else works on it, runs and drives great. It's been a really good van. So what do? We're gonna fix this ourselves. So I just got back from my favorite pick-apart junkyard, US Auto Parts at 18.5 in Van Dyke in Metro Detroit, and we got a van load of goodies. So I'm gonna unload all this. We got a little bit of body work to do. Some of these panels aren't perfect, but they're doggone close. And obviously we got to paint them, get them in the correct color. But I think we're gonna beat that $4,100 number. So let's get everything unpacked and see what we got. So here's what we picked up today. We got a tailgate, and this one is in really nice shape. It's dirty, but it's straight, and it's off a Grand Caravan. Obviously we're putting this on a Chrysler Town and Country, but the sheet metal's the same. So this is in really nice shape, and it's got the correct glass. I went ahead and I stripped this, so it's got no wiper motor, no hatch release, all that stuff is gone. Because of that, because it's a stripped piece, and also you may notice this area is blank, as well as the top where the brake light goes. Those pieces are all bolt-on, and they're also color painted. So for the Chrysler, this centerpiece is different. So I'm just going to take that off my van because it's not damaged. Same for the high brake light. And then I don't have to paint those things, and I don't have to pay for those things. So I got this tailgate rust-free, razor straight, 65 bucks plus a $5 scrap fee for the old one. So 70 bucks all in, done. So I'm gonna have to pull the Caravan logos, sand it down, paint it, and then switch in all my stuff. And we also got a new bumper reinforcement. Mine got hit over on this side, it's bent in. It's not bad, but 20 bucks plus a $2 scrap fee. I'll just put a new one on, right? The bumper cover, this was a little trickier. We've got, because it's a Town and Country, it's got the blind spot indicators installed in the corners, and then it's got the backup sensors. And again, they charge extra for that. Those sensors, the blind spot sensors, are 50 bucks a piece used. You try to buy one of those online, and they are $500 to $1,000 each. And I'm not paying that kind of money. So fortunately, I've still got both of mine. So we're going to reuse those. Same for the 4 sensors down here at the bottom. Those, because they're painted, I'm just going to reuse the ones off my van. Then I don't have to repaint them. So I took those off this bumper cover. I took this piece off. It's just a little black plastic step piece. And as a stripped bumper cover, I got that for 35 bucks. Nice price. This one has a little bit of damage to it, mostly down low. I'll fill that in. I'll make it look nice. And of course, we'll paint it the correct gold. And then lastly, we got the tail light, 25 bucks. It's got one little chip in it, right down there. And I'm probably just gonna live with that. For 25 bucks, way cheaper than buying a new one, and it'll make this van look good. So that's what we got, pretty good day to get started. Now we gotta clean these up, and we gotta start sanding, and we'll get ready, start prepping these things for body work and then paint. Now we washed the heavy stuff off the tailgate, and it's looking really good. It's too bad this isn't the right color. We'd probably just bolt it on. But no dings, no dents. Paint's a little, got a few scuff marks on it, but that's okay because we're going to sand this down and paint it gold to match the van. Now, since this is off a Caravan and it's going on a Town and Country, those letters got to come off, Flex Fuel's got to come off, and I got to get these clips out. These clips just broke when it came apart. So let's get all that nonsense off. We'll get it stripped down to where we just have the surface that we're going to repaint. Got the Flex Fuel decal off, and we got Grand Caravan off. So now we'll get ready to get the last of the clips and things off, and we'll have to begin getting this baby ready for sanding. Got all the clips out, everything that was left, got all the logos off, got things cleaned up, took all the wiring out, got this stuff all cleaned up. So now we're getting ready to start doing a little bit of sanding and getting that prep work done. So I think we got everything ready to go. So let's get sandpaper out. And we got everything nice and sanded down. All the orange peel's gone. Used some Scotch-Brite to get the little rounded spots. What looks shiny up towards the top is just water. I just wiped it down to get the dust off, but everything's pretty much broke through all the clear coat. Tried not to break through any of the primer. We will put a coat of sealer on this. And then on the top side, even though all this gets covered up, we're going to paint it as well. So we get that all sanded down. So now I got to flip it over and we'll do the jam areas. And now we got the backside scuffed. And we generally just scuff the areas where we're going to see paint. And I'm just going to kind of blend it in inside where the trim goes. So that way I'm not doing the whole thing, but that inside part's going to be covered in plastic trim. So just getting the heavy stuff, but that's looking good. So now we can turn our attention, maybe do some work on this bumper cover. We got to do the same thing, sand it down and do a couple repairs. Getting a good start on the rear bumper cover, sanding it down with 220, and we're finding little imperfections, and a lot of these we're able to smooth out pretty good. We may have to put just a touch of filler in. I think we got to do some work there. Again, this is a $35 bumper cover, so I could have spent $300-400 on a new one, but this will work good. So we're going to keep sanding down and see what we got for imperfections and start filling those in. Slow progress, but we're getting there. A little more work to do. We got the bumper cover sanded. Got all the clear coat scuffed up, and boy, there were a lot of little tight areas that had to be hand sanded and a few little imperfections. We got a lot of that sanded out, so this is looking good. We're going to take and just fill a few of the imperfections. This thing's going on a, let's see, a 14-year-old minivan that has 165,000 miles on it. So it does not have to be perfect, but then again, if it takes a couple minutes to make it a little nicer, we're going to do that. So we're going to go ahead, fix a few imperfections, sand that down, and then see where we go from there. Took the bumper reinforcement and just scuffed it down real quick with a grinder and some 80 grit, just had the surface rust on it. Wiped it down, primed it, shot some black on it. Nobody's ever going to see it, but why not just clean it up a little bit, make it look a little nicer, and then that little bit of surface rust isn't going to become more rust, at least for the rest of the time we're driving this van. So got that done. I'll go put that in the other room, make some space, and then see what we're going to work on next. Going to get the hatch ready for sealer, so I've vacuumed all the dust off of it. Now I'm going to wipe it down with some prep sol, just a wax and degreaser. Make sure I got the surfaces really clean. Then I will probably flip it, prep the front side, and I'm going to hang it from that beam right there. And then that way I'll be able to shoot it both sides while it's standing up. So get this wiped down and then we'll flip it over. There's the back side prep, taped off all the holes that go through so that when I spray the front side I don't get a lot of overspray coming inside. And as well, I've tried to get all the dust and stuff out of there. I vacuumed it, I've wiped it out, but I don't want any little pockets of dust blowing when I'm shooting colors. So that's why you see so much blue tape. And taped off the glass. I'm not taking the glass out for doing this. So now we'll flip it over and we'll do the other side. Got the glass taped off and we prepped it one time. So now we will we'll give it one more wipe down with solvent, with Prep Sol, and then we'll hit it with a tack rag before we start shooting any sealer on it. But we got that looking good. Got all the little holes taped off that go through it. So I think that's ready. Now we got to figure out a way to hang that bumper cover. So we finished up the imperfections, did a little filling here and here, a couple little scratches and things, smoothed out some areas, and I think I had a scratch on this side. You can see just some little pit marks, filled those in. So we got that looking decent. So now we'll go ahead and prep that. I think we got our layout for shooting some paint. Got the hatch hanging. Got the bumper cover hanging, so should have enough room to get around everything with the paint gun. So let's get that prepped. We'll go from there. Got everything prepped, wiped down with Prep Sol. Now I've wiped it all down with the tack rag, so everything is ready for primer. So we're going to mix up a gun and shoot some primer. There we go, got a nice coat of primer on. Now we're going to let that dry. So we got the primer dry, everything looks good. So we're going to do some wet sanding. Got some 600 grit, we'll get it smoothed out and then we'll prep it one more time for color. And we decided to go ahead with 400 grit on the wet sand. That was moving a lot faster and it got the job done. So while the wet sanding is done, one more prep, and we'll come over here and we will start mixing color. Got a light coat of base on, obviously a lot more to go, but we'll let that flash. We'll put another coat on. So here's the first coat of base, and you can see it still needs a couple more coats, but we've gotten pretty good first coverage. So we'll now mix up another gun and we will shoot round two. Alright, we got the base down, looking pretty good. Gonna let this sit for a bit. Then we will mix up some clear, and our clear's got a little bit of tint to it, so it should give us even a little more of a gold pop. But I think the base came out really nice, good coverage. I used about a pint to do all this, so good coverage. Things really came out nice. So let this sit for a little bit and we'll shoot some clear on it. Time to start putting everything together. So this is what we started with, the damaged car. And of course we got the hatch, the bumper cover, the structural bumper reinforcement. And we just finished paint work and getting everything ready. So now we got to start tearing it apart. So we'll use these tools and we'll start taking things apart. The bumper cover is pretty easy, and the wheel well, you got 3 fasteners. And these are just little plastic things with a push pin. And you just get in with a tool. I'm doing this one-handed. And you just pop that center piece out and then give it a little tug and they pop right out. So you do that 3 times. Then down low, you just got your basic push pin Christmas trees. And it's the same kind of deal. You just get in with a tool and tug on a little bit and get that popped out. And there's a handful of those. Getting the taillight out's pretty easy. You've got some fasteners in here. These are Torx T30s. You got 2 of those. And then the bumper cover has a T30 as well. Some minivans have an M10 screw, but for some reason, some years have T30s. So I'll pull those out, and then I'll just take the taillight and pull it forward. Both taillights have to come out because for the bumper cover, you still got that lower taillight fastener holds part of the bumper cover on. So you got to pull both of those. And then I'm going to pull this piece because I didn't buy this with the other bumper cover. I got this for 35 bucks because it was stripped. And yeah, this has got a little nick in it, but really, do I care? 165,000 miles, that's going to look fine. So I'll take a trim tool and I'll just pop this. It's just clipped in. I'll pull this off. Yeah, just get under the front edge and start lifting, and it just comes right up. And you just pop that right off. So, pretty simple. One more detail, there's a push pin for the bumper cover right down here. Again, that's another reason you got to pull both tail lights so you can get at those push pins. Now with all the push pins out, we got everything out back here. We'll just grab this and pull it out. There's just some clips holding this in here. And just pull that out. You see them right there? 1 and 2. That's all that holds that in. So you just pull those. Of course, the other side's already gone. And with that, the bumper cover comes right off. Obviously, it's still wired on. So next we'll go pull the sensors off. So we got 2 blind spot sensors, which are these guys, and they clip in on the sides. And then we've got 4 backup sensors, which are the little round things, and we're going to reuse all that. Now I could unplug the harness up here, but why bother? I'm just going to snap it on the new cover and be done. So these are pretty simple. Just bend the tabs up and this will pull out, and then here we'll bend these tabs up and then this will pop out, and then the wiring just clips in to these little tabs right there. So we'll go ahead and pull all that out, and then we'll move it over into here. Well, I went ahead and unplugged it. It's just easier to have this harness disconnected. So I went ahead and pulled it off the bumper cover, so I got that loose. So I'll take that harness, I'll put it in over here, and I will pull this rear structural bumper, and it's just got a couple attaching fasteners here and here on both sides. I think they're M13s. One problem I got, where the car got hit, this all got folded in, and I don't have access to the bolt. So I'll pull this out or I'll cut it, but I'll notch that and I'll make some room for the bolt. Look how close that thing came to hitting the structural. It just came and touched the body, but nothing damaged, so I don't have anything to repair there. So I'll pull those 4 bolts, pull that bumper off, and I'll get the wiring harness and I'll install that over here. So we got the new bumper reinforcement in. It took a little time just to get everything lined up right. I had to cut this part of the old one out so I could get at this fastener, but no big deal. A little grinder, we got that done. So we got a nice solid bumper reinforcement in, and then we got the wiring swapped into this bumper cover. All the sensors in, all the wiring in, all the clips, and we just plug that in. So I think now we're ready to lay the bumper cover in. Got that in loosely. Got a couple fasteners in. Got the clips held, and I got the wiring attached, so we'll get the rest of the push pins in and the rest of the M30 or T30s, and we'll see how we're doing. We get all the screws in, all the push pins in. It's looking pretty good. So now we just got to put that cover on, this black piece right in there. We'll go ahead and clean that up. That should just snap in, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. So we got the bumper cover, tail light, that part's all done. So now we got to work on getting the tailgate apart. We'll start swapping that out. Now we'll get ready to get this hatch apart. We'll have to get the wiper system off, so this cap has to come off, and then there's I think a 13mm nut behind it. Then underneath on the back side, we've got 4 screws that got to come out. And then this cap has to come off, and we can pull this rod off. This is what raises and lowers the hatch. And then we can pull this trim piece off. We'll use a trim tool, start at this corner. We'll pop that trim piece off, and then we'll pull the big trim piece off. So we got those panels off. And one thing, there is a light connector hanging here. You just gotta disconnect that. But there's the main panel. So, and then we've got this rod disconnected that went up into there. So we're getting close. So now we've got the wiper motor. We just have to disconnect this, and then 3 nuts. And then we've got the latch. I'm starting on swapping out the rear hatch, and so I pulled the damaged one off. Sorry I didn't video something beforehand, but it's pretty straightforward. You got two electrical connectors that you just unplug, pull those through the hatch, and then you've got a hose for the washer fluid to come through. And you just got 4 bolts, 2 there, 2 there, and we've already disconnected the motor to raise it, and then you just got the 2 struts, and those things just clip on down there, and then that clips on up on the hatch. So pulled all that stuff and pulled it apart and pulled it off. So I got that in the garage. We'll start taking that apart. So now I'm going to start stripping this tailgate and putting all the goodies in that tailgate. So we've got the latch, all that wiring, the hand latch, all that stuff's got to come off. And then we've got the 2 face pieces that have to come off. So let's start unplugging things, undoing clips. We'll just go at this a little at a time. I've got the high brake light assembly off, and this was held in with 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 clips. And these clips break really easy, so I went ahead and I literally cut a chunk out of this old one, because it's going to the scrapper, and that let me get at the back side of those clips and squeeze them and get them out without breaking them. Now if you can get an access to supplying new clips, that's probably quicker. You just bust them all off, but I don't have that, so I'm doing that the same down here for the front panel. You can see how the clips pop through. You just squeeze them together and they come right out. But if I tried to pull that, the clip would just break. So we're kind of cutting some holes. You can see another clip right there for the front panel. So we're going to keep doing that, get that front panel off, and we're slowly pulling the wiring off. So I've got all the wiring pulled off of this. I've got all the clips. Upper and middle trim pieces are gone. So now I've come back here and I've hung the correct wiring harness into this door. And the big difference, this door was off a Dodge Grand Caravan, and it didn't have the reverse camera and stuff like that. So this harness is slightly different. So I got all those pieces attached in. So now I think my next step, I'm going to be ready to hang the door. Well, we got the hatch on. That was pretty easy, but I had extra hands. We had to get the hatch up, had to get those 2 struts connected, and then the 4 bolts along the top. But that went pretty straightforward. So then once that was on, we had to feed the wiring through. And those are the blue and the silver connectors, and those are up into here. You can see them peeking through there. So I just got to get this piece sealed up tight. And then we got this hooked back up. That's what automatically raises it. So the next things, we'll put the latch in it. That'll go right there. And we'll put the wiper motor in. We'll put those in and hook them up. Then we'll figure out what to do from there. So there's the latch mechanism in. There's the wiper motor on. Got the wiring all tidied up. What else do we get done? Let's see. Got the wiper arm back on. So now I think I'll move over here. I'll put these side pieces on. It's the seals or whatever that goes on both sides. So we'll pop those on. Got both sides in, and we got this little module put in and plugged in. So next, I think I'm going to go after this piece right here. That's the Chrysler emblem, the backup light, and the handle. And that's going to go up here. So I'll bring the hatch down and we'll work on that. So I lined that up, clipped everything in. I've still got to open it up, and I've got some screws or some nuts that go here and here on both sides. We'll go ahead and run those down. And then we still have to get this top piece done. And that is sitting right there. Oops, I screwed up. I've got one nut here, the other nut's behind this. So I'm going to have to pull this back off so I can run nuts on those two studs right there. That'll just take me a minute, no big deal. So now we'll put the top piece on. We just got to plug the light in. And we've got a couple screws and some clips that should just line right up, snap in. And we'll put the screws in. And once you lay that up there, don't forget you got to put the water washer hose connected back up. So we'll be sure to do that too. So we finished up a couple screws holding this handle in, a couple screws up in here to hold the center panel in, and let's see, a couple end screws. We had some nuts, let's see, back here. Checked all the clips, so like we got everything. So now it's time to put the trim panels in, which means I'll have to take this back off, but that's just super easy. And so let's go hang the trim panels. Finished getting the high mount brake light installed, so that is done. And then we went ahead and we snapped on all the interior panels. And with that, it is done. Everything works good. Lines up nice. We are finished. Here's the body shop estimate. They have $1,615 for the tailgate. For the rear bumper cover, $459. For the black plastic piece that goes on the bumper cover, $213. And then for the taillight, they had $278. So if you note, they didn't have anything for the bumper reinforcement. And that's just because they had just looked at the car, they hadn't dismantled it. They would have seen that, so that would have been in addition to all this. And by the time you add paint and everything else, total came to $4,067 as an estimate. And again, that's a professional shop doing professional grade work with new parts. So that's our baseline. Now here's our receipts from the junkyard, and this is a self-serve junkyard, so you've got to go find the parts, take them off the vehicle, and dismantle them. For the hatch, we paid a total of $74.89, so that included the core charge and tax and all that stuff. Then on the bumper cover, that was $35. Bumper reinforcement, $22. The taillight, $25. So again, you add an environmental fee and tax, we're up to $87.79. And then in addition, the paint, I bought that online from Color My Auto, base clear, and that totaled out with shipping $131. And that was the PWL paint code gold color with the base and the tinted clear. So with that, let's see how they total up.